Welcome as we look at number 5 in our series going through Philippians and Colossians, Christ in Philippians and Colossians, shining as lights in the night. And we're given Philippians chapter 2 to look at as basic definitions of the Christian life, the way we are supposed to shine, the way we are supposed to let others know about Jesus. And I put some quotes in the notes for this time. Dwight Moody: we are told to let our light shine, and if it does, we won't need to tell anybody it does. Lighthouses don't fire cannons to call attention to their shining. They just shine. I love that kind of perspective. You shine. You don't have to sort of brag about it. You don't have to call attention to it. You just go ahead and do it, because that's what is attractive about knowing Jesus. You want to share him with others. You want to let people know what Christ has done for you. You want to share this glorious good news. You know, they say that the definition of the Christian gospel is one leper telling another leper about Jesus. One person who is starving telling another person who's starving where to find bread, and so on. There's so much of that in the Gospels, of people telling others about what Jesus has done for them. And really that should be an example for us too. What has Jesus done for you? How do we share that? And as we think of the great controversy, that is how we really do represent God, in contrast to the lies of the devil. We tell people that God is the one who is trustworthy and not the devil. In our own lives, we are a spectacle to angels and to human beings, Paul says. We are to be this living demonstration, living stones that are built together in this wonderful structure that is the church, the congregation. I'm not talking about organizations or buildings. I'm talking about the people who are the ecclesia, the ones who are called out to be part of this glorious body of Jesus here on this world, to represent him to those around. Because in the end, who we are is a description of the people of God, who are the ones who can rightly represent God. We, in our own defective natures, don't always get to do that, but we should at least try. We're given Romans 3:23 and 24 about how God makes us right through his grace, by the way in which he represents himself through us. God demonstrates his love for us in that Christ died for us while we were still sinners, is what Paul says in Romans 5:8. And you can see all the other material from 2 Timothy, 1 Corinthians and Luke and so on. It's a way in which in this world we speak for God to help others understand what it really means. What does it really mean to be a Christian? There in Philippians 2, Paul spells it out. It's not a vague kind of thing. This is the way that we operate as believers in Jesus. For those people who are suffering in Philippi, who were persecuted and so on, it was a wonderful testament to the conviction that they'd had to follow Jesus. And despite all the problems and the persecution that came, they knew that they had a hope in this life and a hope for the future. And Paul wants to remind them of that. It's a letter of encouragement, both Philippians and Colossians. They are letters of encouragement to people who are experiencing problems in their lives, and yet not dwelling on that, because they see that in the end it's worthwhile, because they have the privilege of this grace that God uses to make us right with him, so we can spend an eternity together with him. In talking about this, we have to ask ourselves, well, what is this life really all about? What is it for? And here we are to be these lights that shine so that others may see Jesus in us.